Hello, I'm Diane and I'm here with Melissa Farley, who is going to join me today in an interview with Veronique Benoit. She's a chapter writer in the book From Us for You, Inspiring Stories of Healing, Growth, and Transformation. Thank you for being with us today, Veronique.
Thank you.
Why don't you, well, let me tell you first. I met you through a mutual friend who I was in discussion with about the book, and she said, "Oh, you need to talk to my friend Veronique." And so I reached out to you, and we had a lovely conversation, and very interesting background. So why don't you just give us a little background in your own words about yourself? Kind of introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. So, as you probably noticed, my name is not a typical American name and it's hard to pronounce. So, I am originally from Belgium, Europe. So, like 5 years ago, we moved to the States. And it was a huge challenge because I had a practice working with people who were overstressed. And then we moved to the States in a complete other world. Everything was different for me. So yes, first thing that I had to do was start learning the language and then starting to connect to people. And that's how I met Gina, our common friend, in a networking group. So I never saw her in real life. So it was all through Zoom. So, and then we started sharing our life stories, and then we noticed we had a lot in common. And so from one thing came another, starting about the interesting book that you wanted to write. And I was like, this is all me sharing with the world. So yes, that's who I am. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
So Veronique, yeah, I think it's fascinating, the opportunities that Zoom provides, the fact that you never met Gina in person and were able to connect with Diane and now all these other women. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give too much away about your book, like Diane said, but give us kind of the elevator pitch, the little short version of what your chapter's about.
Well, it's actually an uplifting story, but it's also a little bit, a sad story. It's just a part of my youth that I am describing. And it's my youth that was a struggle. And I just want to, with this story, inspire people that, yes, you can go in two directions. You can be a happy child, or you can start doubting yourself. And that's like the circle that I came into when it was downwards, like challenging myself too much, and with high expectations from all the people around me, had a really great negative influence on my image of myself. And that's what that whole part that I am describing, and inviting people to pay attention more to what you think, what you feel, what you see in your children, to be more kind of present with your child when they are young. I just want parents to open their eyes for what is going on with children.
That's such an important invitation and thing that you're talking about that I don't think gets a lot of communication or discussion about. So I have to ask you, were you sort of just waiting for this opportunity to tell this specific story, or how did you decide that this was the story you wanted to tell when Diane approached you about this book?
Well, it's kind of my life story that changed my life at a certain age, because at the age of 18, then you normally have to choose what you're going to do in life. So I discovered for myself, if I am not going to do anything about how I think and how I live my life, then I will struggle for my whole life and will not be happy and not successful. And so this is actually the story that I am sharing, in that I share it like in my profession. And that's also why I chose that path to be coach. But I never, until this point, decided to really write it down. And when I heard about this book, I thought, this is it. This is it. This is the next step that I want to just share it with more people.
Yes.
And not only people that, so the ones that are normally I shared it with were the people that were like having troubles.
Mm-hmm.
But now I really want to kind of share it to prevent all kinds of problems that could start with young children, so that people just know more about what can happen.
Right. So I heard you say you're a coach. What kind of coach are you? What do you do?
Well, I'm an integrative psychotherapist, and
Oh,
yeah, that's
that's a
a
mouthful.
mouthful.
Yeah.
But what I did, it's I coached people that had physical or mental problems due to overloads in their life. And that were people that were struggling and needed help and were also looking for help, but in a way that they say, I want to change something about myself. I want to take control over my life again, but I don't know how. I need tools, I need help, I need guidance, and I don't want to go the path of taking sleep medications or pills that they get addicted to. There were people that would say like, okay, I still want to have control. I want to stay who I am, but I need tools how to deal with the things that are coming into my life. And I did that for 30 years until I actually moved to the States. Yeah.
What an amazing career. I mean, that is such a service you are providing to so many people. Thank you for doing that. So I heard that, you might have a business that you do now that involves making jewelry. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because that sounds like a big pivot and a transition there.
That's really interesting story. Well, I told you that I was a coach for 30 years and then we moved. So yes, I thought with 2 kids, well, those kids, teenagers, they will need me when we move. And I will spend my life, so it was only supposed to be 2 years, I will spend my life focusing on them, that they're integrated and that they speak the language. I will be there and support them completely. So first week when they went to school, after a week, they said, Mom, I don't need your help. We're fine. So the one who was there struggling was me. And I had problems because I had to learn my English. I had no connections. I had no friends. I couldn't work officially because of my visa. So I thought, oh, now I'm here. What am I going to do all day? Because I was a businesswoman, busy in the week and the weekends, always working. And then it was a complete other life. So then I was sitting there at home. I thought, okay, what do I have? Okay, I have 2 hands. Maybe I can do something with that.
I love that.
Really. And it started like that I said, okay, I'm going to just go to Hobby Lobby and just walk around and see if there's something that I can do. So I started with clay at home. And then the story is that I signed up for a clay class, and the clay class was full. So they put me in a silversmithing class for not the beginners, but intermediate. So you have to know all those jewelers, when they come to class, they have a lot of stuff with them. So I joined that class with nothing. I came in the class and I said, I'm so sorry, but you are stuck with me for the whole day and I want to learn something. So she started me explaining sewing and hammering and whatever. And that was the start of my jewelry career. So I thought, my gosh, this is a lot of fun. And that's the way I started learning language, signing up for all kinds of classes. And that's also the way that I met people and got involved in the community and could share about my story and so on. So I still do this. I absolutely still do this. And yeah, because it's fun. It's creating is just another way of expressing yourself and just hammering the sewing. So, yes, it's a lot of fun.
That's very satisfying. Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely. And I'm giving, I make a lot of things and I give them to people and I make them happy. So that's all good. Yes. Yeah.
I think that's so amazing that you have such a spirit of exploration, right? Like, and you're not afraid to open yourself up to these new opportunities. And that's how you discover new things. That's such a cool way to go about life that a lot of people, I think, are very limited about trying that way. So I'm going to ask you one of my favorite interview questions, and some people who love me or hate me for it. So I love to learn from other people's failures. I think it is so valuable to hear about a moment in your life where you feel like maybe you failed at something, but you learned XYZ and it helped you understand this thing better. Do you have a moment like that that you could share with us? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a really dramatic moment. Can I share this? But it's also turning points in my life. So when, I had a lot of fear of failure. So when I told you at 18 years, I said, like, I need to start learning all these techniques and methods for myself first. And that's always, so if you want to be a coach, you have to develop yourself first before you can guide someone. So in my first year, I'm originally a physical therapist. So we had to learn about muscles and all this stuff. So I was a really, really good student. I studied too much. So every time we really had to learn every muscle, and we were in a big auditorium with hundreds and hundreds of students. And every time there was one that the professor picked out of the whole crowd and had to be the professor and explain the whole structure of the muscle and whatever. So I was always prepared. I was like, I can do this. Yes, I can do this. So one day, the professor, what do you think? It was me. Hundreds in the auditorium, me, the one with the fear of failure. So he said, can you come in front of me and replace me here and talk to the audience what you've studied and explain this muscle. And he said, did you study that? So I had to stand up. Yes, I studied. Can you come in front of the auditorium? And I say, no, thank you. Then he said, wait a minute, that's not a choice. You need to come here. You have the choice now that I'm giving you. If you don't come, you fail for the rest of your whole year, and you have to retake this. Are you coming in front or not? Guess what I said?
No.
Did you do it? No. No.
I decide that I will retake this next year.
Wow.
Yes. So the lesson here is like, I let my fear take over my life. And the thing is that I studied it. I knew it, but I was so afraid to stand before the crowd and just making a mistake, because in my view, there was not allowed making mistakes. That was not possible. So the fear was much bigger of, having the audience laugh with me or whatever, than just saying, no, I will redo it. So no one will have a problem with me. The only one is me. So, and yes, I decided that. And that was also an eye opener. Is like, the lesson is your fear can become so big that you make the wrong decision. Yes.
Right.
So
That is so, like, that resonated. So I felt it in my chest, when you were talking about it, and all the times that I let fear choose for me, and see, this is why I love this question. That is such a great answer. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was really cool.
Yeah.
We'll go a little lighter, hopefully. So, a lot of this, the whole goal of talking about things that we've come from and places where we failed and learned and all that stuff, is to try to build a better life for ourselves. And so with that in mind, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years? In 5 years, you've worked so hard, you've gotten to these, these goals, and what does that look like for you?
Well, the fun part is when I see myself in the future, I often talk about that with my husband, that he's like, we're just joking, a lot of people here are retired. Mm-hmm. And then we say, when are we going to retire? And then often he says like in 5 years. And then I'm thinking, what will I do differently? Well, then I discover for myself that I just want to do the same things that I'm doing, because what I'm doing now is like I have groups with people that meditate with me and that I coach, and that they reach out to me and I guide them. And I just want to keep doing this. It's not like work for me. I just want to be there and share my knowledge. I think it's important what I experienced and all the lessons I learned. This is not something that stops when I retire. I mean, like, this is for life. And I just see my life going the same way. Yes, because I don't see like, okay, retirement or stopping with something. No, I want to just share with more people. And the technique that I'm teaching is sophrology. I want to spread it all over the world because it's so valuable. And that's my big goal. Yes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I want to learn more about that. I have a final question for you today. And that is, I want you to share just maybe one thing that you discovered about yourself when you wrote the chapter for From Us for You.
Well, I discovered for myself that it was time to share this with the world, that I've kept it too long for myself. Really, yes. I thought, this is good. Yes. Yeah.
That's excellent. Well, I love the chapter, and like I'll probably say with everybody, I can't wait to to share your chapter and everybody else's chapter with everybody. It was very well done, and I'm so glad that Gina introduced us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being with us and talking with us this afternoon. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to talk to Melissa and I. And also, I want to thank everybody that's watching the interview, and feel free to share it. And you can find out more information about From Us for You at the website www.FromUsForYou.com, and make it a hopeful day. Thank you.